Thank you so much, Carrie and our band, and Denise Rosier for such a beautiful, beautiful song. Before I get started, I do want to remind us that we are just starting our crisis cold weather shelter. We had our first 2 nights, the last 2 nights, and we have openings for volunteers. And what makes this happen? Oh, did you guys hear any of that? I wasn't even thinking about that. Okay. I could hear me. But what makes this happen is all of us working together. So please, you can go to our website, unityofspringfield.org. There's a place that you can sign up there. There's also a whiteboard out there. But I will tell you that this ministry makes such a difference. Can you imagine? Can you, for 1 second, imagine being out there at night? I mean, I can't even imagine being out there during the day. But can you imagine having to sleep at night outside? And we have this opportunity to give warmth and shelter and food to people. So please, please, please be a part of this. Okay, so question for you. How much of you was created in the image and likeness of God? All of you, right? 100% of you. And you believe that, yes? Yes. How much of your waking awareness do you spend in the knowing and living from the magnificence of your God self? Not quite up at 100%, huh? And this is important for us to look at, isn't it? Because it's one thing for us to get it intellectually. It's a whole nother thing to realize and to make this real in our lives. And so some other questions I have. Do you see yourself as whole, or do you see yourself as somewhat broken? Do you see yourself as a living expression of God, or do you see yourself as mostly human? And here's the thing. Reverend Richard Rogers tells us that how we see ourselves makes all the difference in the world. Because if we see ourselves as broken, if we see ourselves as lacking or less than, it affects every area of our lives. And those of us who've been in Unity for a while know this to be true, yes? That if we're feeling broken or lacking in any area, it can't help but affect every other area. He says that when we get too focused on our past mistakes, on our grief, on the quote-unquote bad stuff, that's where we start to feel broken. But that's not the whole story. And aren't you grateful that's not the whole story? Thank goodness. Even to the point of who you are and where you are and what you are today, the story isn't finished. And honestly, you guys, even when we transition, the story isn't finished. But the reality is we're here in this life, right? How many of you are alive today? Raise your hand if you're alive today, all right. And we're in this life to experience life. To really experience life, not to just kind of lay back and just let life happen, but to embrace life, to be a co-participant in our life experience. So the question is, are we willing to see ourselves differently than who and what we have been, even up until this moment? Amen. Yay! I'm hearing music behind that, so I'm thinking, yeah. And are we willing to let go of our structures of knowing? So I want to share with you again what our structures of knowing are. Structures of knowing are simply the beliefs, the programming that we have taken on that direct our lives. There are these kind of walls that we live within, and they're things like, I never get any breaks. It runs in my family. It's genetic. I've tried to quit, but I can't. All men are. All women are. And I've heard it quite a bit. Life is against me, or nothing good ever happens for me, or, I am getting older. It's too late. These structures of knowing are simply beliefs. That's all they are, you guys. They're simply beliefs. And the reality is that these beliefs have all been made up. They're not really true, right? These structures of knowing, I mean, yeah, there may be something genetically that runs in your family, but does that mean that you have to get it? No. It may be that you've struggled your whole life financially, but does that mean you have to continue to struggle financially? Nope. You know, if somebody has a prognosis, or if the doctor gives you a prognosis, do you have to believe that prognosis and that's the only prognosis? No. They're structures of knowing. So, we've all had times in our lives, right, where we just have known that the way that we see something is the way that it is. Anybody ever have those times where you just know that how you see it is right, how you see it is true? And then something happens and our mind gets changed, and we're kind of shocked by that, aren't we? And sometimes we're a little resistant to that, aren't we? Because we're, by golly, I just know this to be true, but you can't really refute the evidence. You've had those times when you just can't refute the evidence, you know? Yeah, you're right, this is actually true. So today, I want to give you evidence that you cannot refute. I want to give you evidence, just as it says in the book of Genesis, that you are created in the image and the likeness of God. And to take it from this place of thinking it to a place of living from it. So I'm going to invite us to say together. So I want you to think about this for a moment, okay, as we say it. So I'm going to say it a few times. What does this mean to you to say, I am created in the image and the likeness of God? What does that mean? Okay, so let's say this together. Wait, I'm going the wrong way, sorry. I'm going the wrong way again. Where'd it go? Oh, it's up there, sorry. Was it already up there and okay. But I'm still created in the image and likeness of God, even though that happened. Okay, just think about it though. What does this mean to you? I am created in the image and likeness of God. Let's say it a couple times together. I am created in the image and the likeness of God. Let's say it again. I am created in the image and likeness of God. Now for me, when I really focus on the I am, I know that the I am of me is created in the image and likeness of God, right? That's the Christ potential. I am created in the image and likeness of God, okay? So here's the thing. If I really believe that I am created in the image and likeness of God, and if I pair that with Jesus's teachings, then how can I not behold the powerful co-creator that I am? How can I not behold? How can you not behold the powerful co-creator that you are? How can I not celebrate the gift that I was born with a thinking mind? Now here's going to be Unity Manifestation 101. I was gifted with this thinking mind, and with my thinking mind, I get to create the conditions in my consciousness for what it is that I desire to experience in my life. Yes, this is what we teach. I create the conditions in my consciousness through my faith, through what I'm focused on. And what happens, what we believe, is that as we create the conditions in our consciousness, it's again what I'm focused on, that what happens is we impress then, this consciousness impresses upon what we call spiritual substance, God's substance. And ultimately, it manifests as an experience in our lives. Is that pretty clear, right? Okay, so here's the thing. The only thing that's up to me at this point is that I create the conditions in consciousness, and then I let go. I let them go into spiritual substance. I let go and I let God, because guess what? The how isn't up to me, is it? Is the how up to me? No. Is how something's going to get manifested up to me? No. And I'll tell you why. Is because this divine mind is much broader than our limited human mind can begin to envision on how something can work out for us. Let's just take a big thing, peace on earth. Oh my goodness. Does anybody know how peace on earth can work out? No. We give it over. That's my point. I go with the big thing, but we want to give it over. So I keep the vision, I keep the impression, I let go of attachment to the outcome, and as our fifth principle says, I take action as I am guided. And here's the thing, you will be guided. I will tell you 100%, you will be guided. And your job is to listen and to follow and to trust. Okay, so that's Unity Manifestation 101. So what if you could no longer believe in limitations, believe in lack and worry, believe in illness, believe in not enoughness? What if you just couldn't believe in that anymore? And what if you could embrace more and more your magnificence? Would life be a lot better? Yeah? Would there be a lot more possibilities and hope? Would life be more exciting that way? I'm not believing it. You guys are not I'm thinking we need some coffee in here. Okay. We are talking about our power today. So I want to get you excited about your power today. Okay, so this to me is what this series has been about, my friends. This Discover the Power Within You by the late, great Reverend Eric Butterworth. We're discovering the depths of our being, but we're discovering the power that is within us. And we are in our final week of this series. This is what it has been about, is about recognizing who and what we are, the potential, the power that we have, and utilizing that to create a life that works for us and a life that works for everyone, right? It's not a selfish thing, but as we create a life that works for us, it can't help but benefit people around us. Okay, so the way that we're going to do this today is, I told Paul the other day, I said I wrote the beginnings to 3 talks this week, and I finally settled on this last one. This is the one that I felt the most guided. And what we're going to do is I'm going to use scripture today to give you irrefutable evidence that you are a powerful co-creator and that you don't have to settle for anything in your life, that things that you never imagined could happen in your life can happen in your life. And what we're going to start with is, we got to move into the realm of possibility, don't we? Do any of us have some areas in our life where we're feeling a little bit stuck with possibilities? Oh, no. Okay, good. We all have those areas. It's like I shared before, we have areas of our life that work really smoothly, don't we? Sometimes relationships, sometimes money, whatever, but we have other areas that kind of trip us up, okay? So the first thing is Jesus says in Luke 1:37, with and through God, all things are possible. Really? Are all things possible through God? Yeah? You think so? All things. Okay. It does go on to say, the things that are impossible with people are possible with God. So here's where I want to go with this. Because yes, we believe that all things are possible with God, don't we? In God's realm. But I guarantee you, there are things we don't believe are possible with us in our realm. Right? This is what I'm calling us up today. I'm calling us up and out in this right here. So are all things really possible with God? Yes. Clearly. Jesus says, yeah, you guys can think they're impossible, but that doesn't matter because all things are possible with God, okay? And what we have to recognize is when we look at, because we want to go to but I'm telling you, I know we get it from our intellectual mindset, but do we really get it from this realm? Because Jesus taught in this realm. Jesus shared what Jesus shared in this realm. in this physical realm right here. And he clearly repeats that just because you might not believe something is possible doesn't mean that it's not possible, whatever it is. Healing, loving relationships, abundance, freedom, wholeness, career change, etc. And all of us have heard what we would call miraculous stories, right? Of somebody's healing, or of, maybe high school sweethearts finding each other after 30 years and getting together, or of all of a sudden somebody, money came into their lives. We've all heard these things that are outside the realm of our normal everyday. Yes? Yes. Okay, so he says it again. I just want to reiterate this. All things are possible for one who believes. Now we're starting to take some action here, okay? Because we have to start believing it. And you know what that means? We got to get out of our minds, don't we? If somebody says, "Are you out of your mind?" you can proudly say, "Yes, I am." I am out of my mind. I go to that Unity church. Don't say that really, because that's probably not going to help us. But yeah, not going to help us. Okay. So here's the thing. One of the things that I really have always appreciated about the teachings of Jesus are the extremisms. The extremisms of his feats, the extremisms of the stories that are told about his feats, about what we would call miracles, right? So a miracle, when I look and I think, well, what is a miracle? It's just something that is outside the natural working of the laws of human consciousness and experience and environment, right? That's what we call a miracle. And Jesus said that he came not to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law. And to fulfill is to complete, or to achieve, or to realize. So as I step back and I look at this, Jesus came to teach us the laws of life, to fulfill the laws of life, so that we ourselves could fulfill the laws of life in our own life and in our own environment. That we ourselves would be the ones to do exactly what he did, so that we could realize the powerful co-creators that we are. That we are not helpless, hopeless victims to circumstances in our lives. This is huge for us, because again, even in the journey that many of us has taken for decades on this, we still get into that victim mode, don't we? Oh, how could this have happened to me? What am I going to do about this? No, it's the worst thing. We all get there, right? We don't want to be there. We want to be there less and less, right? That's not a happy place to be, is it? It's not. It's a habitual place to be. But when we're in that co-creative, expansive place, that is always a much better feeling place. So here's the thing. Jesus did healings. He healed people's sight. He healed their voices. He healed their hearing. He healed leprosy. He healed paralysis. He cast out demons. He raised Lazarus from the dead. He healed a woman that was bleeding for 30 years. It says that he healed all kinds of illness. But here's some of the things about the way that he healed, and this is what's important for us to know, is that number one, he always empowered people in some way when he was doing the healings. And the first way that I see that he empowered people was to have faith in him. Have you ever had somebody who had faith in you when you didn't have faith in yourself? And their faith in you helped to bring that faith up in you? Yes? I'm hoping we've all had that experience. Well, that's what he did. When there were people who were like, "Oh man, I've heard about this guy, but I don't know that I believe it for me." And he would come to them and he would get right in front of them and he would say, "Can you believe on me?" And because they could believe on him, it lifted something, it raised something in them that allowed them to accept the healing that he was sharing with them. And how this relates to us is that we have all come forth with the Christ Spirit within us. that Christ in us. This is what we've talked. We talk about this all the time. But for this series, it's the divine potential, right? And ours is to believe on this that is right here within us. We believe on this, that this in us is that which will guide us towards whatever it is that we are seeking to experience. This is what will guide us in manifesting and creating and experiencing. So we first believe on this. Again, we call it the Christ within. So he also then empowered people to take responsibility, because he would say, okay, you're healed now, pick up your mat and walk. Or go and sin no more, go and tell no one. And to me, so much of what this is about, my friends, that I'm going to tell you this ding, ding, dings with me. To me, this is let go of any excuses or crutches that you are using to fight for your limitations. Anybody feel punched in the stomach with that one? Can we acknowledge that we are good at fighting for our limitations? Yeah? Be aware of your I can'ts. I'm not. I don't have. It's too hard. I'm too tired. It's just the way it is. I'm too old. We're fighting for our limitations. This is what the doctor told me. This is where this is going to go. We're fighting for our limitations. So take responsibility for your own mind. You know what? When we were created in Genesis, we were given dominion over the animals. And what that means metaphysically, we were given dominion over these crazy thoughts that are going on. We're supposed to have dominion here. We have to step up and take that responsibility, right? Take responsibility for our own mind. And here's the big one. If you have been struggling with something over and over again in your life, what is the common factor? That's hard, isn't it? Your consciousness, your mind, your beliefs, your faith. That's the common factor. So here's the thing, my friends, go back to open up to possibilities. Know that there's possibilities that are beyond what you are experiencing today, because I promise you there are. There are possibilities beyond what your body is experiencing today. There are possibilities beyond what you're experiencing financially in your lives today. As a ministry, there are possibilities beyond what we are experiencing today. There are possibilities beyond what we are experiencing as a country and as a world today. There are possibilities beyond this. So we go back to open up to your possibilities. Allow yourself to believe upon the Christ within you, the power within you that is never going to forsake you or leave you. It can't ever. It is always with you, even unto the ends of your days. And then he empowered people to hold the vision through faith. In Mark 11:24, he says, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you've received it and it is yours. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. So he's saying here to act as if that you have already received whatever it is that you desire. You want more peace in your life? Start acting more peaceful. Start bringing that energy into your experience. And when you receive something, if somebody gives you a gift, what do you say? Thank you. And if you love the gift, how do you feel? Great. You feel it. You're like, yes, this is where we want to get. We want to get to the place where we are so excited. We are feeling it so much that we're just already saying, yes, I'm so grateful that this is already happening, because it is already happening the moment that we begin to put that energy out there. In Matthew 21:18, he says, for truly I say to you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, and do not doubt. You will say to this mountain, be removed and cast into the sea, and nothing will be impossible to you. And we go, what? Seriously? I couldn't have faith enough to literally move a mountain. But my friends, I'm going to tell you, Jesus was the greatest master metaphysician that ever lived on this planet. You know what he was doing? He was alchemizing. To alchemize is to transform the nature or properties of something By a seemingly magical process, he was alchemizing eyes, ears, tongues, physical ailments, the body, water, weather, etc. He was literally transforming the nature of the properties of these things. And again, because he was always working in extremes, he was essentially, doing all these things, saying, what you're working on is nothing compared to all this stuff that I'm showing you can be done. Like, I love that. This stuff is extreme. And he's saying, you can do this. And you can do this. You just got to do the work that is yours to do. Yeah, it takes work. It does. You're right. You're right. We can get lazy. You're absolutely right, Sue Ann. And he's saying, if I'm telling you that if your faith can literally move a solid mountain, and that is what he was telling the people at that time. He wanted them to go way beyond their thinking minds. If I'm telling you, you can move this solid mountain, then I'm telling you that you can alchemize your body, your mind, your finances, your relationships. You can alchemize anything. You are a born alchemizer. Did you know that? I just realized that. How cool is that? We're alchemizers. We're alchemists. We're not alchemizers. We're alchemists. I can make up my own words. So. Jesus, but we can say, no, wait a second. That's what Jesus did. And what did he say? Oh gosh, all the things that I've done, you can do, and even greater things than these. But in James it says, when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. So be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous and strong. Do not be frightened and don't be dismayed, because God, the Christ, is with you wherever you go. Even when we don't see things happening yet, don't be dismayed. Keep on keeping on. That's the letting go and letting God. And then I love Hebrews 11:1. Faith is the assurance, the confidence of what we hope for and the assurance of what we don't see. It means that we're going to stand in that knowing that I may not be seeing this happening yet, but that's what faith is, isn't it? It's trusting that even when I don't see it, I'm keeping my vision, I'm keeping my focus, I'm keeping my energy on what it is that I want to experience. And I'm going to keep it so solidly there. For we live by faith, not by sight. And be patient. Be patient, my friends. How many of us know that there's a gestation period from the time of conceiving a baby to having a baby? It's a rhetorical question, clearly. You keep feeding the baby, what happens? It grows, and at its right and perfect time, it's born. And life is like that. Life is like that. Our job is we keep feeding that vision. We keep feeding that dream. Psalms 27:14 says, wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage and wait. And in the same way, faith by itself okay, so we wait, but then we take action. It says all our principles in one with discover the power within you, with all this scripture and what unity is about. But we take action. And that means that we move beyond just sitting there and visioning and thinking. We take action. And we know that action is divinely guided. Here's the thing, my friends. Unexpected things will happen. And I promise you, this is what's going to happen for you. You're going to run into somebody, and they're going to have exactly what you need when you hadn't even asked them specifically for what you needed. It's going to happen like that. Or somebody's going to call out of the blue, or a job's just going to fall into your lap, and you're going to be like, whoa, what happened? Or you're going to, go to lunch one day with an acquaintance, and then you're going to end up marrying him a number of years later. You never know what's going to happen, but it's all really good stuff. So the whole point of this, and I'm getting us, Chiefs are starting in 2 minutes, but I couldn't help myself because this stuff is so important. this is really the crux of what unity is about. It's about the power that we have. It's about the fact that we are co-creators with this that we call God. It's about the fact that we have this divine potential within it. We call it the Christ Spirit within us. And it's about the fact that we have these wonderful thinking minds and that we do have the ability to influence. I like to think of us as being influencers in our lives. We get to influence the direction of our life. And I just want to encourage you to take this with you today. Take it beyond your head. Take it into your heart. Make it real in your life. And go and be wonderful, powerful co-creators in your life today. But let's also co-create a world that works for everyone through our love and through our kindness and compassion. And I say to you, namaste. And thank you. That's what happens when I get 3 talks going at once. You guys get a whole lot more than you bargained for. I can't. Oh, there's a delay of game. Great.